Leonardo DiCaprio criticizes Australian government over South 32 bauxite mine expansion in Western Australia. Leonardo DiCaprio, one of Hollywood's most outspoken advocates for environmental protection, has once again used his platform to raise awareness about the devastating environmental consequences of mining and deforestation. The Academy Award-winning actor recently called out the Australian government for approving the controversial expansion of the South 32 bauxite mine in Western Australia, which he argues will have catastrophic effects on local wildlife and fragile ecosystems. DiCaprio, known for his long-standing commitment to environmental causes and his work with the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, took to Instagram on March 12 to express his concern over the deforestation of the Jarrah Forest. In a strongly worded post, the Titanic and Killers of the Flower Moon actor detailed the significant environmental damage that the mine expansion would cause, highlighting the broader issue of government policies that prioritize industrial development over environmental protection. The Australian government has approved deforestation within the Jarrah Forest of Western Australia, clearing the way for the mining of bauxite, the main ingredient in aluminum, DiCaprio wrote. The mining company at South_32 is set to clear 9,600 acres of this old-growth forest, which is home to threatened species like the critically endangered woylie. Bauxite is a key raw material used in the production of aluminum, and its mining often involves large-scale deforestation, soil degradation, and the destruction of ecosystems. The Jarrah Forest, a biologically diverse region home to a wide range of plant and animal species, is particularly vulnerable to such industrial activity. The destruction of these forests would not only displace wildlife but also contribute to increased carbon emissions and the loss of vital carbon sinks that help mitigate the effects of climate change. DiCaprio's post underscored the scale of the environmental impact, explaining that this operation will destroy critical habitat for over 8,000 species, 80% of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The Jarrah Forest is known for its rich biodiversity, including rare and endangered species such as the woylie or brush-tailed bettong, which plays a critical role in the ecosystem by aiding in soil health and seed dispersal. The loss of this species would have a cascading effect on the forest's overall health and resilience. The 50-year-old actor also highlighted the apparent contradiction in the Australian government's environmental policies. While native forest logging was banned in Western Australia in 2024, clearance of native forests for mining is still allowed due to separate government policies that prioritize mining development over environmental protection, DiCaprio pointed out. This inconsistency reflects the ongoing tension between economic development and environmental conservation in Australia, where resource extraction remains a significant driver of the national economy. DiCaprio further explained that this new approval is in addition to South 32's previous deforestation, bringing the total area of Jarrah forests cleared to over 38,000 acres. The cumulative impact of this deforestation, he argued, threatens to push already vulnerable species closer to extinction and undermine global efforts to combat climate change. The Oscar-winning actor has long been vocal about the urgent need for global action to address environmental degradation and climate change. Through his environmental foundation and social media platforms, he has consistently used his influence to draw attention to deforestation, illegal wildlife trafficking, ocean pollution, and the broader climate crisis. His advocacy work has earned him recognition from leading environmental organizations, but it has also made him a target of criticism from some political and business leaders. In his Instagram post, DiCaprio also called for immediate action to protect the Jarrah Forest. He urged his followers to support conservation organizations such as at Rewild and at Wild.org, which are working to safeguard the region's ecosystems and protect vulnerable species. These towering ecosystems are already at risk of climate change, he warned, emphasizing the need for urgent intervention to prevent further destruction. However, DiCaprio's remarks did not go unanswered. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese responded to the actor's comments during a press conference on March 13, dismissing DiCaprio's claims and questioning his knowledge of the situation. "If Leonardo DiCaprio knows where a bauxite mine is in Western Australia, I'd be very surprised," the Prime Minister said with a hint of sarcasm. Albanese went on to challenge the accuracy of DiCaprio's statement, claiming that the actor's post contained factual errors. While he did not provide specific details about the alleged inaccuracies, his remarks reflected the broader tension between environmental activists and government officials over the regulation of mining and resource extraction in Australia. The clash between DiCaprio and the Australian government highlights the complex and often contentious relationship between environmental protection and economic interests. Australia is one of the world's largest producers of bauxite, and the mining industry plays a crucial role in the country's economy. At the same time, Australia is also home to some of the most diverse and fragile ecosystems on the planet, making the balance between development and conservation a persistent challenge. DiCaprio's comments have sparked a wider debate about the future of environmental policy in Australia. Environmental groups have rallied behind the actor's message, calling for greater transparency and accountability in the approval process for mining projects. Conservationists argue that the destruction of old-growth forests like the Jarrah Forest represents an irreversible loss of biodiversity and a setback in the fight against climate change. This is not the first time DiCaprio has used his platform to challenge governments and corporations over environmental issues. In recent years, he has spoken out against deforestation in the Amazon, plastic pollution in the oceans, and the impact of fossil fuel extraction on climate change. His involvement in environmental advocacy extends beyond social media posts. Through the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, he has funded conservation projects, supported indigenous communities, and backed legal actions to protect endangered species and habitats. The South 32 bauxite mine expansion represents a significant test case for Australia's environmental policies. The approval of the project, despite the ban on native forest logging, raises questions about the government's commitment to environmental protection and the influence of the mining industry on policy decisions. Critics argue that the decision reflects a broader pattern of prioritizing short-term economic gains over long-term environmental sustainability. DiCaprio's intervention has amplified these concerns, drawing international attention to the issue and putting pressure on the Australian government to justify its decision. Environmental organizations have called for an independent review of the approval process and greater public consultation on future mining projects. Some activists have also suggested that legal challenges may be necessary to halt the expansion and protect the Jarrah Forest from further destruction.